"Welcome to the pink side." Dad walked in and said I looked just like Mom. I never meant for anyone to see me like this. Not Emma. Not my friends. And definitely not
Dad.
But there I was, frozen in front of the hallway mirror, lipstick halfway across my bottom lip, wearing the same red satin dress I found buried deep in Mom's old trunk. The fabric shimmered under the hallway light, clinging to curves that weren't mine. Or at least they hadn't been until now. Let me back up. My name is Ryan, 23, just out of college, working part-time as a graphic designer while figuring out life. On the surface, I was like every other guy my age: jeans, t-shirts, game nights with friends, and a relationship with a girl who actually made me believe I had my life together. But that was just the surface. What people didn't know, what Emma didn't know, is that I've carried a secret since I was 13. A secret I buried under baggy clothes and sarcasm. A secret stitched together from curiosity, guilt, and longing. It started the day I found Mom's closet. After her sudden passing, Dad packed her things into boxes, sealed tight in the attic, almost like he was scared touching them would make her absence more real. One rainy afternoon, while searching for an old photo album, I stumbled on those boxes. Inside, I found pieces of her world: silk scarves that smelled faintly of lavender, heels worn thin from dancing, and a vanity case full of makeup still sealed shut like a time capsule. I remember sitting there for hours, holding a pearl necklace, wondering what it felt like to wear something so elegant. I tried on her lipstick that day. Just once. Or so I told myself. Over the years, that just once turned into quiet nights when no one was home. Slipping into one of her soft sweaters. Trying on a wig I'd bought online under a fake name. Learning how eyeliner worked from YouTube videos and practicing in the bathroom mirror, wiping it off the second I heard footsteps. It wasn't about wanting to be her. It was about wanting to understand the part of me that didn't feel like it belonged in the world I'd been given. And then came Emma. She was bright, bold, and completely opposite from me. Where I was anxious and analytical, she was confident and fearless. We met during a group art project, and before long, we were spending every weekend together, binging horror movies and laughing until our stomachs hurt. She made me feel safe. Normal. Except I wasn't. And I couldn't tell her why. Every time she ran her fingers through my short, boring hair, I'd think about the synthetic blonde wig hidden under my bed. Every time she'd compliment my hoodie, I'd remember how I felt last week in that flowy, floral dress that swirled around my knees when I twirled alone in the living room. I told myself I could live two lives. I had to. Until today. Emma had gone on a weekend spa trip with her cousins, one of those all-girls bonding experiences she swore would be detoxifying. She begged me to come, even joked about dressing me up to sneak me in, but I just laughed and stayed behind. She left Friday morning. By Friday night, I was already halfway into the fantasy I swore I'd given up. But today, Saturday morning, something changed. I woke up early, heart pounding, as if some invisible force was dragging me toward the attic. Toward her things. Toward my other self. And I gave in. I picked the red satin dress because it looked untouched. Like it hadn't been worn since before Mom got sick. Slipping into it was like stepping into a different world, like stepping into her shadow and my truth at the same time. I applied foundation with shaking hands. Brushed out the wig I'd trimmed and styled weeks ago. Spritzed on the perfume I never dared wear before. Light, floral, haunting. I became her. The version of myself no one knew. Not Ryan. Not Emma.
Not even me, sometimes.
I was admiring myself in the mirror, half lost in the illusion, when I heard the front door open. I froze. Emma? No. She wouldn't be back until Sunday. But then a voice cut through the silence like a knife. Ryan.
No. No, no, no. Not now.
Ryan, you here? I thought I'd surprise you. You left your wallet at the lake house.
Dad.
I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. His footsteps echoed closer, each one thudding in time with my pulse. I could hear the plastic of a grocery bag rustle in his hand, the familiar jingle of his car keys. I turned, my eyes wide with panic, lipstick still unfinished, the hem of the red dress trembling from the slight breeze of the ceiling fan. He rounded the corner and stopped. Everything went still. His eyes met mine. He didn't shout. He didn't flinch. He didn't even blink. He just stared. At the lipstick. The wig. The heels. The ghost of his wife wrapped around the body of his son. And then, softly, too softly, he whispered, You look just like your mother." My heart dropped. I didn't know whether to scream, cry, or run. But I knew, in that moment, nothing would ever be the same. Dad didn't say another word. He stood there in the hallway, keys in one hand, paper bag in the other, like someone had frozen him in time. And I was dressed head to toe in my mother's clothes, drenched in her perfume, mascara blinking rapidly as my heart tried to beat its way out of my chest. I opened my mouth to speak, but the words caught like a lump in my throat. I couldn't even say his name. Not like this. Not while I looked like her. His eyes flicked slowly from the wig to the heels, then back up to meet mine. For a brief second, I wondered if he was about to explode.
Yell. Cry.
Walk out and never come back. The kind of moment that tears families apart in dramas and therapy sessions. Instead, he said something I never expected. "You need to sit down, son." His voice was soft. Not weak, just aged. Like he'd been holding something for years and finally decided to let it breathe. I nodded silently, my throat still too tight to speak. We sat across from each other at the kitchen table, me in the red satin dress and heels, trying not to tug at the hem or the wig, Dad in his usual jeans and jacket, still holding the bag of groceries on his lap like it was a life preserver. He didn't ask questions. Not right away. The silence felt like a thick fog around us. Finally, after what felt like hours, he said, "You always did like her closet." My eyes widened. "You think I didn't know?" he continued. "When you were 13, I found one of her necklaces under your pillow. I didn't say anything because, well, maybe I wasn't ready to see what I was seeing." I could feel the blood drain from my face. My hands trembled on the table. "I thought it was just grief," he said, staring down at the table. "But it wasn't just grief, was it?" I shook my head slowly.
No.
It wasn't. There it was. The first real truth I'd said aloud in years. He didn't freak out. Didn't look away. He just nodded, more to himself than to me. I asked, "Are you mad?" He looked at me, really looked. "I don't know what I am yet, Ryan. Confused, maybe, but not mad. You're still my kid, dressed up or not." I felt the tears before I could stop them. They blurred the edges of my vision and made my mascara sting my eyes. I reached for a napkin, cursing softly as it smudged the makeup I'd spent nearly an hour perfecting. Dad chuckled lightly. "Your mom would have told you to use setting spray." We both laughed, even if mine came out more like a sob. It was the first time in years that we'd shared a moment that didn't feel forced. But even as the tension broke between us, another wave of dread hit me.
Emma.
She could come back early. The spa was only 2 hours away. What if she'd forgotten something? What if she surprised me, walked in just like Dad had? I stood up suddenly. "I need to change. Ryan."
No.
"I'm not ready for anyone else to see this. Not her. Not yet." He held up his hands. "Okay, just take a breath first." But I couldn't. The fear was crawling up my throat again. The illusion I'd built, of control, of safety, was unraveling thread by thread. Back in the bedroom, I looked at myself in the mirror. The transformation had been meticulous. Mom's red dress hugged my frame perfectly. The wig, blonde and curled at the tips, had taken me weeks to style just right. My makeup, even with the tear smudges, still held. Lipstick bold, lashes thick, contour soft but defined. And yet, in that moment, all I could see was vulnerability. How easy it would be for the wrong person to see this and never look at me the same again. But wasn't this who I was? I reached out and touched the mirror, fingertips meeting their reflection. My nails were painted a soft pink Emma left behind months ago. I told her I spilled it accidentally. Lie after lie after lie. I sat back down at the vanity. Instead of removing the makeup, I started fixing it. New foundation. Fresh eyeliner. A darker lip. Burgundy this time. Something bolder. Why was I doing this? Because I didn't want the last time Dad saw her to be full of shame. Because somewhere inside, this version of me wanted to be seen.
Needed to be.
When I walked back into the kitchen, he looked up from his phone. He studied me like an artist seeing a painting evolve stroke by stroke. Stronger look, he said. More confident. I replied, voice calmer. He nodded. She'd be proud. That sentence stuck in my chest like a pin.
Who? I asked.
He smiled faintly. Your mom. You have her grace. Her posture. You even do that little head tilt she did when she was nervous. I felt myself tilt my head without thinking. He laughed. The moment shattered with a single knock. Both of us turned toward the front door. One knock. Then another. Not Emma. She had keys. I darted into the hallway and peered through the side window. My stomach flipped. Mrs. Carter. Our neighbor. Her nosiness was legendary. If she caught so much as a glimpse of me in the state, the entire neighborhood would know before sunset. Dad looked at me, then at the door. Go upstairs. I've got this. I hesitated, heels clicking as I ran for the staircase. Halfway up, I paused. Ron, she called through the door. I saw your car. Wanted to drop off those cookies you like. Just a second. Dad called. I reached the top step and crouched low, peeking through the railing. He cracked the door just enough to squeeze through. I held my breath. I can't stay long, Mrs. Carter chirped, pushing a tin into his hands. Is Ryan home? I thought I saw. Nope, he's out running errands, Dad lied smoothly. Just me today. I could hear the tension in his voice. The effort. She lingered as always. I ducked away from the railing just as she peeked inside. Tell Ryan I said hi, and that I missed seeing him. Dad nodded. Will do. When he shut the door, he exhaled loudly. Safe, he called up the stairs. My knees went weak. I stayed upstairs long after Dad assured me it was safe. My breathing had slowed, but the storm inside me hadn't passed. I stood by the window, still dressed as her, no, as me.
The real me.
The one I kept hidden in dark corners and silent bedrooms. I could have taken everything off. Changed back. Tossed the wig under the bed like I used to. Pretend the day never happened. But I didn't. Instead, I walked slowly toward the vanity and pulled out the lipstick I had only used once before. Her lipstick. It was deeper than anything I dared wear before, a rich crimson that made my reflection look like it belonged in a fashion magazine. The color bloomed on my lips like a confession, sealing in something I didn't have the courage to say out loud. Then I saw it. On the corner of the mirror, still taped after all these years, a photo of my mother and me. I was 6 years old, in her lap, playing with her necklace while she laughed. Her smile was bright. The same one I saw in my reflection now. Tears welled up again. This time, I didn't wipe them away. I whispered, "Do you see me now, Mom?" My phone buzzed on the vanity. I froze.
Emma.
Hey babe, spa's kinda boring. Thinking of driving back tonight instead of tomorrow. Miss me? My heart dropped into my heels. Tonight?
No. No, no, no.
I typed back fast. Hey, everything okay? I thought you were staying the weekend? I was gonna clean the place tonight. LOL, you cleaning? Something must be up. I'll leave around 7-ish.
Be there by 9. Can't wait to see you.
9 p.m. That gave me maybe 4 hours. Maybe. I had to decide. Hide everything again?
Or
let it unfold. Downstairs, Dad was sitting on the couch, nursing a glass of water like it was whiskey. He looked up as I entered, full makeup, heels still clicking, posture tighter, more refined. Confident, at least on the outside. She texted. I said. He nodded. Coming back? I nodded too. Tonight. You've got time, he said gently. But only you know what you're ready for. Title. One last walk in her heels approximate 1,000 words. I didn't go to my room. Instead, I walked into the hallway closet, Mom's closet, the one Dad had sealed after the funeral. I never dared open it. Until now. The door creaked as I pulled it open, dust trailing in the air like forgotten memories. Inside were dresses she never threw away. A coat I remembered from Christmases past. A pair of gold earrings tucked inside a silk pouch. And a shoebox. Inside, a pair of cream-colored heels with a satin finish and delicate ankle straps. Worn only once, Dad had told me, on their anniversary dinner, the year before she passed. I held them like they were sacred. Slipped them on. Perfect fit. Walking in them felt different. More than the strut or the click, it felt like a connection. Like I was walking a path that had always been there, waiting for me to find it. I stood in front of the mirror again. Wig perfect. Makeup glowing. Heels secure. Dress clinging like it belonged. And I smiled. Not Ryan. Not someone pretending. Just me. I didn't hear Dad approach until he was beside me, holding something in his hand. A small velvet box. He opened it, revealing a delicate chain necklace with a tiny charm. A heart, half gold, half silver. She wore this the night you were born, he said. Said you were her greatest creation. I took the necklace with trembling hands. Are you sure? I whispered. He nodded. It suits her. It suits you. He helped me clasp it around my neck. We both looked in the mirror. For a long moment, we didn't speak. Then he said quietly, You don't just look like her anymore. You carry her spirit. The clock on the wall read 8:32 p.m. Emma would be home any minute. I panicked. I have to change. Do you? He asked gently. What if this time you didn't hide? My fingers hovered over the zipper of the dress. Then stopped. There was a knock at the door. One I recognized.
Emma.
I froze, heart pounding, lip trembling. Dad looked at me. It's your choice now. The knock echoed like thunder. I couldn't move.
Couldn't breathe.
My heels were rooted to the hardwood floor, like they were nailed down. Ryan. Emma's voice rang from outside. Babe? I'm back early. Dad looked at me.
Calm.
Present. But I was falling apart inside. I grabbed the nearest throw blanket from the couch, wrapped it around my shoulders like armor. My reflection in the hallway mirror looked ridiculous, a goddess in heels wearing a cheap plaid blanket. But I didn't care. I just needed something to hide. Another knock. Hey, everything okay? The lights are on. Why aren't you answering? My throat was dry. Dad opened the door just a crack. Hey, Emma. She blinked.
Oh.
Mr. Walker. I didn't know you were here. Just dropping off some groceries Ryan forgot. He's inside. She stepped past him, smiling. Thanks. That's so nice of you. And then she turned.
And saw me.
There was a half-second of confusion, her eyes scanning the blanket, the heels underneath, the blush that still clung to my cheeks. Then her gaze lifted slowly to my face. The smudged lipstick, the curled wig, the necklace. Her mouth opened slightly. Silence. The kind of silence that screams.
I didn't speak. Couldn't.
I just stood there, arms wrapped around myself like I could disappear. Emma blinked twice, her lips twitching as if she wanted to say something, anything. Then, softly. Ryan? It wasn't angry, wasn't mocking. Just raw.
Real.
Dad cleared his throat. I should go. He placed a hand on my shoulder. Call me later. And then he was gone, leaving us alone in the soft hum of silence. Emma stepped forward slowly, her voice like glass. Is this are you? I nodded. A tiny broken movement, but it felt like shattering a dam. I took a breath, then whispered. This is me. I didn't want you to find out like this. I was going to change before you got home. She looked around, the vanity, the heels by the stairs, the lipstick on the coffee mug. The illusion was complete. The double life exposed. For how long? She asked. I hesitated. Since I was 13. She sat down, hard, on the armrest of the couch. Wow. I felt my legs give out beneath me, and I sank to the floor, knees bent, blanket slipping from my shoulders. This wasn't about lying to you, I said. It was about hiding me, because I didn't think you'd want this. Want me. Her eyes softened, but confusion still rippled behind them. Is it a fetish? She asked cautiously. No, I shook my head. It's not about sex. It's about feeling right. I don't know what that means long term, but when I'm like this, I don't feel like I'm pretending. I feel like I'm breathing. Emma stared at me, then looked away, then back. She finally said, You look beautiful. I froze. What? You look beautiful, she repeated. That's not the part that scares me. Then what does? She hesitated. That I didn't know you were in pain. That I thought I knew everything about you, and I didn't even see this. I bit my lip, the taste of lipstick suddenly bitter. You weren't supposed to. We sat in silence for a while. Me on the floor. Emma curled up, legs crossed, head in her hands. I kept thinking, she said eventually, you were pulling away from me. That maybe you weren't attracted to me anymore. Or that something was wrong. There was, I whispered. But it wasn't you. She nodded slowly. I believe that. And then, like fate had a sense of irony, I stood up. And the heel caught on the rug. My body twisted, and I fell. The blanket flew off. And the wig slipped off, landing next to the coffee table. My bare head exposed. My real hair matted beneath. Emma gasped. And in that awful second, I saw everything. Shock, sadness, recognition. All in her eyes. I scrambled to grab the wig, but she stopped me. Don't, she said gently. Don't hide. My hands trembled. I look ridiculous. No, she said. You look vulnerable. And human. Her voice cracked. I think I love all of you. But I need time. I need to understand this. Tears blurred my vision again. But you don't hate me? She stood and pulled me into a hug. No. I don't hate you. But I need to learn how to love you like this. The next few minutes were quiet. Emma brewed tea. I sat on the floor, still in the dress, bareheaded now, makeup streaked from tears. I don't know who I am, I said. I just know I'm not just Ryan. Not always. She handed me a mug. Then who are you? I paused. I don't have a name for her yet. Emma smiled, bittersweet. Maybe we find it together. That line hit like lightning. Together. She wasn't running. Not yet. She was staying. Even if only to understand. I want to show you something, I said. I walked to the hallway closet and opened the trunk. The photo albums. The earrings. The shoes. Memories of my mother. I showed her the necklace. Told her about the day Mom wore it when I was born. She always said I was her little miracle. I whispered. Maybe she knew. Emma held the necklace and nodded. She'd be proud. I think she knew you better than you think. 9:57 p.m. Emma's overnight bag sat by the door, untouched. She hadn't unpacked. She hadn't left either. We stood by the window, watching the lights of the neighborhood blink one by one. I still love you, I said. But I understand if you need space. She turned to me. I need time. But I don't want to lose you. I want to meet her, really meet her. When you're ready. I smiled, a real one this time. I think she's almost ready too. Emma leaned in and kissed my cheek. I've got a dress you'd look amazing in, she said with a wink. I laughed, a quiet, stunned laugh. Then the wind blew, and the mirror near the entryway tilted slightly, catching both of our reflections. Emma. Me. No wig. Makeup faded. Dress wrinkled. But something inside me glowing. For the first time whole. Then a phone buzzed. Emma picked it up. Her face dropped. What is it? I asked. She turned the screen toward me. A photo. Me. In the dress. Standing by the mirror. Taken through the front window. With a message below. Bet your friends would love to see this. Let's talk. Unknown number. My heart dropped. Someone saw me. Someone knows. The room fell into dead silence. Emma held the phone like it was radioactive. I grabbed it, hands shaking, staring at the message again. Bet your friends would love to see this. Let's talk. And that photo, clear, sharp, taken through the window just hours earlier. Me standing at the mirror in full makeup, red dress, heels. vulnerable.
Exposed.
I closed the curtains, I whispered. Emma shook her head slowly. Not all the way. There was still a crack. I sat down, my legs too weak to hold me up. The wig, still lying on the table where it fell earlier, seemed to stare back at me, mocking me. All this time, I thought the danger was inside. That the risk was Emma, or Dad, or even my own reflection. But now I realized someone else had been watching. Who would do this? I whispered. Emma was already scrolling, checking the number. No name. Just a fake local number. Could be a burner. A lump formed in my throat. What if they send it to my friends?
My job.
She looked at me, fierce. They won't. We'll figure this out. But if they do, I choked on the words. Everything changes. Emma sat beside me, gripping my hand. Everything already changed, she said. And you're still standing. I stared at the screen again. My mind raced with possibilities. A neighbor? A friend? A stranger walking by? Or, worse, someone who knew me? Then another text came through. Check the mailbox. We both jumped. Emma bolted to the window, peeking through the blinds. No one out there. I rushed to the front door, still barefoot, my heels abandoned somewhere near the couch. I hesitated before stepping onto the porch. The air was cold, and I could still smell traces of my mother's perfume clinging to the dress. The night felt thick with danger. I opened the mailbox. Inside was a plain black envelope, sealed with a wax stamp. No address. No writing. I brought it in slowly, as if it might explode in my hands. Emma took it and opened it carefully, revealing a single Polaroid. Another photo. This time, it was me and Dad, sitting at the kitchen table earlier. Laughing. Him handing me the necklace. Taken through the kitchen window. There was a sticky note attached. She would be proud. But how proud will they be? No signature. No clue. Just a threat disguised as poetry. Emma covered her mouth. This isn't random, she whispered. They know you. And they know what this means to you. I nodded. This wasn't just blackmail. This was personal. Someone was watching me become myself, and now they wanted to use it against me. Back upstairs, I sat in front of the mirror again. The lipstick had faded. My face was raw, exposed, tired. But the necklace still hung around my neck. And somehow it made me feel stronger. I picked up the wig, held it in my lap. The part of me I used to fear.
Hide. Deny.
Emma appeared behind me, her hand on my shoulder. You can't let them take this from you, she said. But what if they already have? I asked. Her reflection met mine. They only win if you give them permission to shame you. I looked at myself again.
Ryan.
Her.
Me.
I didn't know where one ended and the other began. But I knew I wasn't going back.
Not now.
Not ever. The phone buzzed again. A final message. You have 24 hours to reply, or I make you famous. I stared at the screen. The world I thought I controlled just slipped through my fingers. And yet, for the first time, I wasn't alone. Emma stood beside me. Dad was still on my side. And whoever was behind this, they didn't know who they were messing with.